Hey, and welcome to the garage by RidebuyPh. Today we have here the Foton Tunland V9. This is Foton's, pickup truck, rugged, go anywhere, 4x4 pickup truck. We're not quite sure if it's a mid-size or a full-size pickup. We'll let you decide. But what we do know is that it's powered by a 2.0 turbo diesel engine with a 48-volt mild hybrid system. Total output is around 160 horsepower, which is not much, but it's more than enough to have fun both on and off-road. So the Foton Tunland V9 measures in at 5.6 meters long. That makes it around 300 millimeters longer than the Hilux. It's also around 2 meters wide. So talagang malapad siya. It's a bit bigger than these mid-sized pickups, the Hilux, the Ranger, the D-Max. But it's a bit smaller than our full-sized pickups, yung mga Ford F-150, tsaka yung mga Ram 1500. Okay, so dito naman tayo sa bed. So nice, it has hydraulic dampers so it doesn't slam down when you open it. And the bed measures 1.6 meters lengthwise and 1.7 meters in width. So maganda siya, meron siyang 875 kilogram payload capacity. So ilang big bikes na lang pwede mo ikarga dito. All of your camping equipment, perhaps even all of the toys that you want to play with on your weekend adventures out of town. Okay, now moving on to the inside of the Foton Tunland V9. Start muna natin siya. Push to start. Okay, yan. So, as you can see, yung interior niya is hindi kagaya ng mga ibang pickup trucks. Very well appointed, very premium feeling. Tsaka of course, napaka-modern. So, ito, if you enter here into the cockpit, kita mo napakalaki ng screen. Both screens actually. So, yung main instruments cluster niya is a digital display with, parang meron siyang mga pseudo gauges. Kunyari analog gauges siya, but it's actually just one big screen. And of course, the real center of attention here is this massive infotainment system that comes standard with everything you could wish for. Meron siyang Android Auto, wireless Apple CarPlay, and that all comes as standard. Everything is very easy to use, and thankfully, you get some physical buttons here for your climate control, your aircon, temperature, even heated seats. Yes, this truck even has heated seats. Very useful. Okay, so let's talk about some of the performance features of this truck. So as I mentioned kanina, meron siyang 48-volt mild hybrid system, making it one of the very few diesel hybrids on the market today. Pero with 161 horsepower, not too much power, pero it's still very capable. Kasi dito sa ating center console, napakaraming features na pwede gawin pertaining to off-road capability. So ito yung drive mode selector niya. Default, it's on 2 high, pero meron din siyang auto mode which will determine the terrain and determine what's the best configuration for you to use. There's also a 4 high and a 4 low system, like a standard 4x4 vehicle. Pero apart from that, meron din siyang locking differential. Pipindutin mo lang itong button here to activate the rear diff lock. It also has multiple drive modes, so kailangan mo lang siya iwan mo lang sa auto mode dito sa drive selector to choose your automated drive mode. So by default, nasa standard mode. Pero meron din siyang mud mode, sand mode, snow mode, sport mode, and for city driving, eco mode. So kita mo napakadaming features na meron dito sa Foton Tunland V9. Perfect for both city driving, sporty driving every now and then, and of course, off-road driving. Dito naman tayo sa likod. So, as I mentioned, mas mahaba siya, much longer than a standard pickup in a Hilux or a Ranger. And you benefit from that, not just with the extra luggage space, the cargo space, but extra interior room as well. So kita nyo dito, unlike sa mga ibang pickups na yung tuhod mo malapit na sa front seats, napakalaki ng legroom over here. Also, the headroom is also very generous, So you get also a lot of amenities here at the back. You get aircon vents, you get USB chargers. So it's a very road trip friendly pickup truck. So dito sa passenger seat sa likod, marami akong space. Dito sa gitna, it's a little bit higher, pero meron ka pa rin adequate headroom. I'm 5'7", 5'8" on a good day. And I'm very, very relaxed, very comfortable here, even in the middle seat. So that's very good. Okay, so now we're behind the wheel of the Foton Tunland V9. So this is Foton's somewhere in between, in-betweener pickup truck siya. Mas malaki siya ng konti sa mid-size pickups, but it's also smaller than a full-size pickup. So right off the bat, you'll realize na medyo malambot siyang i-drive. It doesn't feel like a big truck. magaang yung steering, and the visibility is very good. All around, wala masyadong blind spots. You have gigantic side mirrors dito, so kita-kita mo talaga what's going on around you. Performance-wise, so not a lot of power from this car. It makes 161 horsepower thanks to a 2.0 turbo diesel engine, which is mated to a 48-volt mild hybrid system. So yun, kita natin, marami siyang torque, marami siyang acceleration, but it tops out a bit early. Naubusan, nahihingal yung makina, kumbaga. So ito, we're driving around some of the tight sections here in the Cavite area. And you'll notice the size of the Tunland V9. Malaki talaga siya compared to your Hilux, to your Ranger. So medyo kailangan planning ahead ka pag babiyahe ka with this car. You can't really go to super tight technical areas kasi baka ma-stuck ka, baka maipit kayo. It'll be hard to turn around and go back to where you came from, no? Okay, it's important to note, no? So this car is a hybrid, but it's a mild hybrid, so it doesn't have a full electric mode. So keep that in mind. Nevertheless, you still get all of the perks of a hybrid. So matipid siya sa gas, and of course, coding exempt siya. So this is one of the few pickup trucks, no? One of the few vehicles of this size na you get to benefit from those incentives of having a hybrid vehicle. And I think, as far as I know, I was thinking about it a while ago, parang there are no other diesel hybrid options on the market as of the moment just yet. Or if there are, this is one of the few that you can get. So performance aside, let's talk about some of the technology inside the cabin. So you can see here, ang laki ng screen niya, marami siyang features. So Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, wireless, both of them come as standard. It's very good for road trips with the family, with your friends, hindi siya boring. Also, technology-wise, marami siyang features, no? Meron siyang drive modes, as I mentioned kanina, during the walk-around, drive modes, which are all easily accessible on the fly. Of course, you also have your drive selector, so you have your 2H, your 4H, and your 4L. So now we're here, medyo off-road setting. Let's test it out. Lagay natin sa sand mode, since medyo nasa graba tayo. You can do this while the car is moving, it appears. So wala siyang, it just automatically changes mode. So let's try it out. So malakas yung kapit so far. The suspension is soaking up the terrain very well. And we're going at a pretty high rate of speed. We're going at 50 kilometers per hour now, taking corners through these gravel roads, getting the tail out a bit. The car maintains its composure very well. Actually, masaya siya i-drive, no? It does a good job of making it feel a lot smaller, a lot more compact than it actually is. The brakes are good enough, are responsive. So it's also worth mentioning that it comes standard with all-terrain tires. Naka GT all-terrain tires siya. So technically, it's adventure ready right out of the box. Okay, now moving on to the road section of our drive. So the reason why we have to talk about the road performance of cars like this, kahit na medyo off-road focus siya, is of course because 95-90% of the time we'll spend driving on the road. So itong Foton Tunland V9, very interesting yung performance niya because diesel siya, but it doesn't have that turbo lag that's commonly associated with turbo diesel engines, and that's because of the 48-volt mild hybrid system. So the electric motor really helps the turbo engine spool up earlier, and it gives you a lot of response at the bottom end. So 450 Newton meters of torque ito, in case you were wondering, along with 160 horsepower. Not a lot, but definitely more than enough to have a good time on the road. So as I mentioned earlier, it has multiple driving modes. So right now, nasa road na tayo, nilagay ko siya sa sport mode kasi gusto ko makita yung in other words, yung the best level of performance it can deliver. So what I noticed now, when you put it on sport mode, it allows you to rev the engine higher. It holds the gear where you're in for a bit longer. So this car has an 8-speed automatic transmission. With manual mode here, meron siyang paddle shifters. So that's a nice touch for those who want a bit of a more engaging drive. So I've shifted it to second gear now, and I just step on the gas. It allows you to rev it all the way to red line, and it won't shift for you until you change gears yourself. But then if we switch naman to eco mode, you'll notice na the response softens up a lot. The gears change much sooner. So this mode is designed for maximum efficiency. So let's say babad ka sa EDSA traffic, or you're just driving home from work after a long day. You wanna stick it onto eco mode to get the most out of the hybrid powertrain, diba? Otherwise, you can just leave it on standard mode for everyday driving situations. Okay, at highway speeds, you'll be pleasantly surprised to know that this Foton Tunland V9 is extremely stable. And that's largely because of the suspension. No? So yung suspension niya sa harapan, double wishbone suspension. Tapos sa likod, imbis na live rear axle and leaf spring combo like what we're used to with models like the Hilux and Ford Ranger, itong Tunland ay naka multi-link rear suspension. So that makes it much more stable, much more planted at high speeds as well as when cornering. So buhay na buhay siya on twisty roads, and also it's very stable at highway speeds. So that concludes our quick first drive review of the Foton Tunland V9. So stay tuned to the Garage by RidebuyPh for the full written review of this very capable and very interesting pickup truck. Thanks for watching.